services out west. We thought that we were going to grow and develop our services, and as Ed mentioned, it didn't quite work out that way. So we started off, by the end of the year, we thought we had 6 services. By January, we were realising we needed to do something quick, so we closed 2 services. So that was our first setback. The positive that came next in December, we had our community picnic. It was our second one. We had the first one the year before. We had sponsorship from Crown that enabled us to do a whole range of engagement activities and to work with the local schools and community organisations. And so the numbers grew from 800 the first year to over 1,000 the second year. We came into January thinking, this is great, we're going to do it again, this is something that we're going to continue to engage with the community with. The conversations got further and further apart with Crown in terms of continued sponsorship, because around February, March, we knew that there was a pandemic occurring. At the same time in January, we had bushfires that had an impact on some of our services because those who have respiratory conditions couldn't go out. So we had a number of our seniors saying, we're not able to attend the activities. So there was some little, ups and downs along the way. But March, it was pretty much slammed. We knew that we were on a downward slope for a while. There was a lot of reaction. We had information coming in from a multitude of government departments in terms of our children's services, right across the life spectrum through to our age service, and so there was a lot of information to try and take in at a very short period of time. At the same time, we were told that we had to close some of our services. So all our social group outings ceased in March. We closed our Dementia Day Centre, and it was time for us to sort of look at it, how we're delivering our services, and the realisation that we were going to have to close our doors. So we closed the doors to all of our centres, but we continued to deliver the programs. And I think that's the proudest thing that I can say is that, sorry, I'm going to get really emotional. This team has worked so hard this year. It hasn't been easy. There's been a lot of misinformation. There wasn't a lot of information known to us when we began. We had a lot of criticisms from external sources because we weren't delivering the programs in the way that they wanted. Staff had to start wearing PPE, so wearing face masks became very difficult for some if they were having to wear it for the whole day. It had impacts on their physical well-being, and then mentally the stress of going out there into known hotspots began to have an impact. So we've got a lot of staff who have experienced stress and anxiety in terms of having to go out into the community, not just in terms of themselves. They put their own needs aside. It was more about, I could take this into someone else's house, or I could take this into my house. So there's been a lot of things in addition to just the day-to-day activities of delivering services that we've had to take into consideration. But as I said to you, it's been incredible. The cottage, whilst closed, Eric set up a newsletter to keep the continued engagement with the families, keep them updated in terms of what was happening with the service, and we offered families to do one-on-one so that the families could still get respite, so they would take them out and go for walks in the community and continue that engagement. We did wellbeing checks. We were ringing people on a regular basis, and if we knew that someone had no family connection, we were ringing on a daily basis. In addition to that, we continued to provide all the services with the exception of our transport. We did flexible transport originally. We did our respite services. We just did it differently. Our food services program continued to run. Our OSH services continued to run. And a number of services at the hub continue to run. And I think, one of the things for us is, Ian mentioned before, was technology. Not all of us are very technologically savvy, and we had to learn to interact with each other via Zoom. So we had a lot of hit and misses, some people coming on, some people missing. So our meetings were very haphazard originally, and then the hub team had to go online to deliver their services. So their parenting programs, their social engagement programs, their play groups, all of these activities went online. So it's not just about delivering the program, it's delivering it in a different medium. It's about how can you engage with someone when you don't have that face-to-face interaction, knowing whether you're giving too much information or not enough. And then it's learning how to use the system, how to get people in, how to acknowledge the chats, how to respond to inquiries. So these guys have had huge stresses. In addition to the normal ones we were dealing with, they had the additional one of having to deal with technology, and I have to say they've done incredibly well. I mean, everyone in the team has done incredibly well. They've delivered new programs. They started up the food delivery program to the local housing estates. You know, from that, we've been recognised. If we do go into lockdown again, our organisation will have responsibility for coordinating the 2 housing estates in that area. So I think that's a major accomplishment for everyone. In addition to that, the team have worked across programs. I think one of the positive things is that there is increased communication across the team. There is that support for one another, and there's the recognition of the differences that the programs entail, and that there's some programs may be more demanding than others, but some may be more tiring because of the repetitious nature of that program. So I think there's been a lot of learnings for us, which has been really positive. And as you know, our volunteers, the majority of them have not engaged with us since March. We've got a few here today. We've tried to bring on some of the services, but the community is still struggling in terms of meeting face-to-face, and because there is community hotspots. But we've appreciated the support of our volunteers throughout that time. There has been that regular contact and acknowledgement and offers to help us in any way possible, but at the same time, we've had new volunteers brought in different ways where there hasn't been any face-to-face interactions, because we started up a pen pal hub to engage with seniors. So we're doing things differently, and we've had to look at how we deliver our services. Unfortunately, we've had to say goodbye to staff. Community transport drivers were made redundant as a result of COVID, and that was due to the fact that we couldn't deliver our services. So it was much sadness we said goodbye to Kung and Vladimir. And I think, you know, for a lot of people who've engaged with them over the years, to come back to the services and see new faces, it's been just as difficult for you as it has been for us. As I said, we've had a number of redundancies as we've had to close programs. So there's been a lot of goodbyes this year, there's been a lot of sadness, but at the same time, there's been a lot of positivity and hope. And I think that's the things that we're all holding on to, because we've recruited during this time, we've got some great staff on board, and everybody is looking, you know, forward to the future with an openness and a willingness to take on board with whatever happens. So I want to thank the team. I just don't know how to thank you, but nevertheless, I'll just say it with words, because that's all I have available to me. It's been an incredible year, and you've all been incredible in that process. I'd also like to thank the board, because yes, you've had to be there behind us. There's been some struggles along the way, but we appreciate the contributions that you've made. And lastly, thank you to everyone for turning up today. It's also been a big ask. We talked about whether we would do it by Zoom, and we sort of got zoomed out, and we wanted to have face-to-face interactions with one another, and we wanted to have face-to-face interactions with you. So we thought if we made it as safe as possible, then we should go ahead and do it the way that we had previously. So thank you all for coming. Recognition. So I'm going to ask Sue to come and introduce the latest recipient to you all.
Thank you, Kate, and thank you, everyone. The recipient of this year's Maisie Foster Award is Donna Thomas.
Hi, Donna.
Sorry, Donna, I had to feel that when I was recording. To get you here. Just a few words about Donna. Donna is a long-term volunteer, having started this SEC, as as it was then, in 2009, when she began assisting in the toy library. Donna is responsible for the sanitising of returned toys, a role she performs every Wednesday and Friday morning. Donna is a devoted and hard-working volunteer. She displays the same level of dedication and support that you would find in a good employee. Donna has become the volunteer face of the toy library, and she's expanded her role to include helping with the toy library fundraising at SEC's Weekend Community Picnic in 2018 and 2019. Donna is a much-loved volunteer, member of the SEC team. Donna is reliable and punctual and has a wonderful, friendly personality. SEC is lucky to have Donna, and she gives us so much, and we're so very pleased to give her the SEC Volunteer of the Year award. Thank you very much. Give it a go.
Thank you very much. I think you think this would be a bit funny, but you like a second family to me. And when we were in the lockdown, Emily drove me up the wall, but when Sue rang me up, I went, yeah. I didn't think I missed something so much. You know, because it wasn't much to look forward to when we were in lockdown, but when I came back, it was something to look forward to.
I'd just like to sort of second what Sue was saying. I remember interviewing Donna all those years ago with Lily, and it was like a very formal interview. Donna was coming for a job as she saw it in her mind, and she's been loyal and dedicated since. It's not very often she misses a week, and if it is, it's for a very good reason. So I think it's a well-deserved honour, so thank you.